Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's discussion where we will be presenting the developer portal. I am joined together by my colleague Margareta, and good morning, Margareta.
Come on, Tony. Finally.
Finally, we get to be able to unveil the inner workings of the developer portal. So, where should we begin?
Where everyone begins, how to actually get an account, what it is.
How do I actually get an account to the developer portal?
Glad you asked. We have on docs.com, which I'm sharing now, several links that will actually get you in there. So you have under popular areas, you see the apps and you see the developer portal, but let's do the quick one, where you just register for an online developer account.
So, this is
So
underneath online development.
online development,
What
yeah.
do I need to know about the online development environments? Anything at this point, or should I just go ahead and register?
I'm so glad you asked because we do have three different environments. We do have what we call the development environment, so SuperOffice.com. We have our staging environment where every code goes through before it's actually hits production, online SuperOffice.com. And these are three separate environments. So in each environment, you have tenants, you have apps, and you have the operation center and our own federation gateway calling Super ID.
Hmm.
And so you have a Super ID for a development environment, for stage environment, and for the production environment.
So they're all completely isolated.
Yes,
Hmm.
completely. Which means that when you create an app, you also have different IDs and tokens for the different environments. And it has the different federation gateway and also the Super ID certificates. Now
Okay.
the developer portal is like an umbrella over all of our environments, making it
Right.
possible to actually manage an app in all the environments and the flows from it starts in development and until it has access in our production environment. Now, stage and production is what we call like restricted environments. So you can register an app in SUD and play around, and then you request us for more access into stage and production later when you're done.
Okay, so the SOD or the SuperOffice Online Development Environment is where I'm going to begin. And when I register this account, it's going to be tied to that SOD development environment. Is that right?
Yeah, your SuperOffice tenant will be created in our development environment.
All right, let's get started. So let's go ahead and register an account and
Yeah.
begin developing something.
So I, as the developer, I'm
You
now
as
working for Stark Industries.
excellent. Like it. Like it.
And who is the head of research in this environment?
I can't pronounce his name.
So his name is Takeshi Kobayashi. And he is at this time borrowing my domain to get an account. Don't you think so? Starkindustries.com.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a customization, like a custom app made for one customer only, my
Okay,
own
so
company.
I know we have more information about this on Docs, specifically like the different types of applications we have, but just sort of cover it really briefly here. A standard applications is like a public application that will be then, once it's certified, available for all customers in the SuperOffice Online App Store.
Yes.
And
While
a customization is more like a private application that will be just a one-off between me as like a developer or a partner operating on behalf of a customer for one specific integration for that customer. Is that right?
yes,
Okay. And what's like just exploring the possibilities? What does that give me?
you haven't decided, am I going to make a customization or I'm just checking it out for a potential customer? Um, Or am I considering actually making our own product part of the App Store?
But it's kind of
So
like, is it right to assume that that's more or less like a starting off with a private application that I can just sort of play with and see if I want to bring it up to a standard app eventually?
yeah.
Okay.
So both of these, when we actually create a tenant in our sandbox environment, so SuperOffice.com, will give you the development tools subscription, while standard app doesn't get it.
Okay, so that pretty much gives me every license that I need required to just start playing with the internal tools like CRM scripting, but also more importantly, the API access from an external application integration.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we are kind of curious, do you have any experience with SuperOffice or not? It's just, should we show you more info on what the different possibilities actually are, or do you already know?
Okay.
So
We
I know.
kind of know, so
And then this is where you actually say that it's okay for us to store you.
it's a GDPR thing.
It's a GDPR thing.
Mhm.
So I give consent, but don't want any more information. So this is actually where we do some manual work because you have to actually create the tenant, and we do that in our sub environment. It
Sorry.
ends up in our service as a new request, which is then handled by one of us.
Okay, so the form I just submitted gets submitted to our customer service. Here we're inside service and we're seeing that form come in as a new
Yeah,
app registration or a new developer account registration.
new developer account. So what it does, it needs a tenant. So you have a SuperOffice to actually play with.
Right.
That will be provisioned in our SOD environment. So it's provisioning now.
Right.
And you see I have this new user, which isn't yet activated.
Okay.
So I've just gotten this email saying that you may now actually activate your account. So it
Okay.
comes from SuperID SOD. So the
Now,
difference.
can I interject here and just ask a question?
Sure.
So a lot of this just sort of happened automatically and quite quickly. Is that realistic though?
It's kind of realistic depending on how many other tickets are in our queue. So it's a queue system service.
Okay. Okay, so at this point, we're looking at the service ticket that was created by the form submission. Now, somebody is going to receive this in their queue and have to actually manually process information.
Yes.
This information basically contains everything that's needed to create the company inside SuperOffice that will then be used to provision a tenant in our development environment for this developer to begin to use. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. So someone would actually go through here and do a lookup as you're doing
Yeah.
right now to see if that company already exists inside our instance of SuperOffice.
And if it doesn't, it will be created.
Okay. Now we know behind the scenes for the sake of this demo, we've already created that company inside SuperOffice. So we know about
We knew about the
Takashi's.
company, but not the head of research and development there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kabash. Kabayash.
Yes. So now he is also created as a person inside our SuperOffice, which means we can follow up. And this tenant is created. An email has gone out to takeshis@romanes.net.
Mhm.
And it's not quite ready yet, but this user now has access to actually activate their SuperOffice tenant in SUD.
Okay, so at this point, you've received the email as a response saying that SuperOffice has gone through, processed your form, your company exists inside SuperOffice, the person account has been created, and we've sent you now an activation email that then you can click on to then access the sandbox environment in the SOD subdomain.
Yes.
Okay.
So typically, I'm using a different browser now. I just copied the link from
For the activation?
activation. I have to create a password, and once I create the new password, I'll be able to log into SUD. So hi.
So now what I'm doing is I'm logging into my development tenant that I can then begin playing with. I can basically use this instance for creating new companies, new persons, new appointments and sales and projects, everything that you would use SuperOffice for. Is that right?
Everything, yes.
Yeah. I don't have to
Just
worry about affecting somebody else's data or anything like that in the production environment. That's just, this is my sandbox.
this is your sandbox, free to play with.
Awesome.
It's an empty SuperOffice, so it doesn't have information. It has a few companies, persons, project selection, but there's no heap of data there.
And it has basically all of the licenses that I need to work with.
It does.
All facades of the application. Okay.
Yes. But pretty empty. So this now created a Super ID user in SUD. You remember we have 3 isolated environments.
Mm-hmm.
And the developer portal is like the umbrella on top.
Yep. So I have a company account registered with you as SuperOffice. I have a person associated with that company inside SuperOffice. And now I have a Super ID user account inside the development environment. Is that right? Okay.
Yes. So you now have this Super ID user and one tenant in SUD.
Excellent. Okay. Understood.
So now we want to give you access to actually work in the developer portal, to log in there.
Okay, so the developer portal is something completely different.
It is.
Yeah, it's the umbrella. It's the umbrella.
Has the umbrella or everything. It needs Super ID user 2.
It's all
But
clicking.
this is the Super, yeah. This is the Super ID from production. So if you are not an online customer already, then this process will create 2 logins for you.
Okay, so let's go.
For SUD and one for the developer portal.
Okay, so let me get this up to date now then. So I've activated my account, I'm playing in my sandbox, and now I want to be able to access the developer portal. So simultaneously behind the scenes, I don't need to register for the developer portal access. I've already done that. So behind the scenes, once my tenant is provisioned, I'll also be given a developer portal user that then I can use to log in to manage any applications I want to use to work with my sandbox SuperOffice.
Yes.
Okay.
So now to be able to log into the developer portal, I will create you as a new partner in the developer portal. And that's where I needed you register inside our own SuperOffice in production, Start Industries, which will be the partner name. And then as the tenant is now provisioned in our sandbox, SUD, I will also find it there. So when we provision tenant for you in SUD or in Stage, we add your company name and environment as part of the company name. So it's easy for you to see where you actually are.
Oh, right. Okay. So you got the suffix there, SOD, for the development environment.
Yes.
Excellent.
And now I'm not creating a Stage tenant because
We're not ready to test and stage. Okay.
No. So the technical contact and an administrative contact I'm setting as this Takeshi's, which we struggle to pronounce, but we find it's a nice name. So I have to find this user, and it will now search the super ID of production.
Okay.
As this user is not actually a CRM Online customer, he's not created there, so I have to create him.
Right. We only had the person record in the production environment, which we didn't actually have in the online Super ID environment or account. We didn't have him as an account there, so now we're just going to go ahead and create him.
Yeah, so he was created as a person inside our own SuperOffice, which is like the master, but we are also a CRM Online customer.
Yep.
And now we are creating this Super ID user, so he can actually log in.
Gotcha.
So
this is the second account that we were talking about that had to be created.
Yes. And it's actually, if you have like Gravatar account, it will pick the image from there. So I have created the user, so I will find him when I now search, and the partner is created. So this is what he will see pretty much when he log in. Now I do have some extra buttons.
Right. Okay. What else do I need to know from here at this point?
That even though the user is created, he still doesn't have access to actually create new users or new app configurations or edit the App Store information. So at the current point, we'll give this user access to change and create apps. This is configuration.
Okay. Gotcha. So now I've got an account and I can go ahead and create applications for my integrations with my sandbox.
But then I should probably let you know that you already have this account.
Yes. So then you're going to send me a reply.
Yes. So I have a standard text, and depending on what you said you were making a standard or a custom application, I just remove part of it. And in this one, it also says that you received one account for the SUD environment, which was the SuperOffice, and now also that you can log in with this email address to the developer portal. So it's two different users.
Yep.
Which is we're explaining. So ShipHoi.
But as far as the user's concerned, it kind of looks like the same account, right? It's the same email address. It's going to be the same credentials to log in.
No, not same credentials.
Okay.
Because you are able to, now I already registered, so I could open up my SUD tenant.
Yep, and I saw you create a password there.
Yeah, and now I want to be able to log in to my developer.
Okay, so now we've got a new email. This is the reply that you just sent me from our service product, and then I'm going to try and log in.
So I take this, copy this link, and I'm using different browsers here, so you see that I'm not
totally fine. So now I'm going to log into the dev portal.
Okay.
dev.superoffice.com.
dev.superoffice.com, and you see in the URL here it actually says production. Now Takeshi don't have an account in our production environment, so when I click next now, I'm asked to send get this confirmation code.
Okay.
Just so we are sure that you actually have control over the email address you used to register.
So, but this is our production online environment, right?
Yes. Yeah. Online SuperOffice.com.
Not to be confused with this developer's sandbox account in the SOD development environment, or eventually, even if they have a migrated to the cloud and they have an online production environment, this has nothing to do with them or that. Okay. So now we wait for a confirmation code.
Yeah. So it comes from SuperOffice Identity.
Okay.
And I give my code, going back, pasting in, get code, and I can now create. No, I can use the same password here as I did in SOD, or it could be completely different. It's two different Federation super IDs.
Okay.
But I have now created a new and will be logged into the developer portal.
All right. So now we are logged into the developer portal as Takashis,
Yes.
and underneath the Stark Industries. Excellent.
Yes. And you see, it gives you different settings. App Store information is for actually publishing into the our App Store. It isn't something that you have to think about unless you are actually making a standard application. So this is just preparing for it, and you also see the users.
Okay.
So in the overview, you see we have all three environments, SOD, stage, and production, and you'll see this in pretty much everywhere where you can create new entries, that we have all three environments. SOD is the open one, while stage and production is the restricted one where you have to request access.
Requesting to publish to the next environment, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think we'll show that in the next video where we show how to create applications. So this is just, now you have a developer account, you are able to log into the developer portal, and once things start to be created, you will be able to actually see who has said yes to your app and the different customers you then would have in our different environments as well.
Okay.
So for now it's kind of empty, but you're all set to go.
Excellent. I see the big green create application button there, and then that's where I would begin to create my own application, and we'll cover that in the next video.
So what we have done is create a tenant. So you have a SuperOffice sandbox environment in our sandbox.
In the development environment?
Yeah. And you have a user, Super ID user here.
So we have a tenant in the SOD development environment. We have a Super ID user in the development environment. We also now have our company registered in not this production environment, but the SuperOffice's production world. And we also have in the SuperOffice Online operations, we have a Super ID user there that's used to log into the developer portal and manage all of our environments and their SuperOffice installations, their applications associated with each one. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct. So as a quick little history lesson, as we used to have three different environments, all application was previously registered in the operations center of each environment, which meant that it was one application with the credential registered here, and then it would copy it to stage with the keys it needed there, and then copy it to production with the keys it needed there. So with the developer portal, you're able to see and manage all three environments in one screen, in one web page, in one lovely little portal.
And I get to manage it as a developer myself rather than having to ask you to copy that same information or different information across the different environments.
Oh, yes. And also, if you make a mistake, you can actually fix your own mistake instead of asking me to, which is lovely, huh?
Excellent. So where do I find out more information about the different settings and things I can do in the developer portal?
It is in the developer portal, we have these small information boxes. The read more links will take you directly to docs. and the developer portal overview and the explanations, what you can do and what the different things actually mean. So everywhere you see these nice little green boxes, green grayish, you're able to directly access the documentation part of it in docs.superoffice.com.
That's
If you're just
fantastic.
curious about it, on the front page, it is a popular area of interest, of course.
Okay.
And then you have complete overview of our APIs too, so there's a lot to dig into.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for giving this walkthrough of how to create a developer account for working in the online environment and all of the things that happen in order for me to begin starting building an integration with my tenant in the development environment. Thank you, Margareta.
You're welcome. I'm looking forward to meeting actually you in this one.
All right, so join us in the next video where we guide you through how to create an application and getting started working with the APIs. Looking forward to seeing you there. Bye for now.